My name is Steve Eimers. This is a victim's impact statement for my daughter, Hannah Nicole Eimers. Hannah was, Hannah was born on September 11th, 1999, and she was killed on November 1st, 2016, when a product called the Lindsay X-Lite Guardrail End Terminal, this is a safety product that is unsafe. It pierced her vehicle, and she was eviscerated and killed instantly. Before Hannah's crash, the state of Tennessee had actually banned X-Lite because of poor performance and several other piercing incidents. Since that time, Hannah's death has caught the attention of national and international news media. Her story has been shared worldwide on NBC, CBS, MSNBC, the UK Daily Mail, and multiple other hundreds and hundreds of news stories. This has led, the product is now dead worldwide. It's been banned it was banned in every US state, and of the 28 states that did use it, 22 of them have committed tens of millions of dollars to replace this product from the roadside. And is one of many that have been harmed by this product. I want to tell you a little bit more about Hannah, but I do want to say there was a girl in that car with Hannah, and this was a very survivable crash, except for the performance of that product called the X-Lite. The girl beside Hannah walked away with barely a scratch. She was sitting in our living room on the evening of November 1st, 2016, while our daughter was dead. I want to tell you a little bit about Hannah. Hannah was a daughter, a granddaughter, a great-granddaughter. She was a sister. Hannah has 10 siblings. The youngest, Nicholas, he was born after her death. Hannah was a niece. She's a cousin. So many uncles and aunts and grandparents and great grandparents and great nieces, great uncles and aunts that have so miss her. The photo on the left here, you can see Hannah was in Better Homes and Gardens. And family was so important to her that she's here shucking corn, and this was an old story that we participated in. She was a friend. She cared about her friends. At her funeral, a young man came up to me. He's from Taiwan. He said, I didn't have money for my books at school, and Hannah bought them, and it was not a small amount of money. She had another friend who had been harmed, and Hannah went with her to her appointments and would call her just on a regular basis and say, are you okay? Are you okay? But she was a friend. She cared for people. That's shown by her actions. Hannah was a humanitarian. She worked with the Special Needs Ministry, the Sunshine Ministry, and was a very strong advocate, especially for those with Down syndrome and other special needs. One of her friends in particular spoke with sign language, so Hannah learned American Sign Language so she could better communicate with those that she loved. Hannah was a defender of the orphan. Hannah helped raise funds to help our family adopt 3 brothers from Ukraine. You can see her in the upper photo there doing a magic show at a yard sale that we had. When 2 young children were socially orphaned by the opioid epidemic of East Tennessee, Hannah had finally gotten her own room, and she agreed to share it with a little girl who needed a mom and dad too. Hannah's final act was advocating for our family to adopt an infant boy she will never meet this side of heaven. Hannah was an artist. She was an author. She wrote several books and original short stories. Her fan fiction pieces have been read by so many. Hannah's final work we just recently recovered, and posthumously, we're in this pre-publishing stage. This is a very prescient work. It's a dystopian novel, and the future is saved, or depending on how you want to look at it, by the Coronado vaccine. She wrote this at the age of 16 in 2016. Hannah was a costume designer. She created dozens of different costumes, was active in cosplay and Comic Cons. Her costumes won contests, and people would hire her to create original costumes and props for them. the photo there of her as Tony Stark, um, she built that hand. It took her hundreds of hours. Just meticulous, careful work, and printing stuff out, cutting it, just extraordinarily talented. And was a musician. She played the ukulele, guitar, and various primitive instruments, many of them Appalachian instruments. This includes the psaltery. Hannah enjoyed the excitement of busking. She would go to Market Square in downtown Knoxville and just saying that she was not afraid to share her talents. She was a painter and a sketch artist. Hannah's artistic talents extended to drawing and painting. I'll share a little bit later, but one of her pictures actually made it into a major motion picture. Her efforts included creating her own comics and a graphic novel. Hannah was a videographer and a photographer. Her video work has been featured by one of the largest churches in Tennessee. She directed a short video. She hired actors and actresses to star in it, and created this video that was used professionally. And this was done at the age of 15. She has a posthumous docudrama featuring a modern retelling of Mary's journey to Bethlehem that we're working on future release for. This is just one she shot, and she starred in it, and it was just her experience being a young pregnant mother. She had a basketball, um, and her experience needing a home for the holidays. Hannah was a scholar. Hannah graduated high school at the age of 15. She was a recipient of various awards and recognitions. This included being recognized as one of the top homeschool exceptional students in the state of Tennessee, and was able to obtain several scholarships, including a Hope Scholarship. She was in college at 15. When she died at 17, Hannah was in her second year of college when she died. Her academic work had won her recognition on the Dean's List, and she was a membership in Phi Theta Kappa. Pellissippi Community College awarded Hannah this degree after her death, and she had earned it. Hannah was an entrepreneur, and she was focused on her career. At the age of 13, Hannah started her first business, raising hedgehogs. Hannah's hedgehogs have brought joy to so many families across East Tennessee, but even around the world. One of Hannah's hedgehogs was pictured in Teen Vogue with Ariel Winter from Modern Family. When Hannah was working on a set of a major motion picture, she became friends with Ariel, and Hannah always talked about how her hedgehog would be more famous than her. But now Hannah's story has touched so many, and Hannah has also been featured in Teen Vogue. Princess Party Pros. This was a business that Hannah started, and she would use her costume skills, and she just brings so much joy to young children. Their imagination would come to life with the Snow Princess or various other princesses, and they just so enjoyed her company. One of my favorite memories is when Hannah was singing in full costume at Boomsday in 2015 in front of thousands of people in downtown Knoxville, and she had so much fun, and just the kids were just, they thought it was real. Hannah was a DJ and a radio personality. She started as a DJ at a local radio station, and while she was at the station, she managed all activities and became a fan favorite. When she was working, she was in charge of the station. She had to make it work, and she did. She'd problem solve, and she would get everything done. Community members, even just yesterday, they still recognize Hannah's friendly radio persona. Hannah was a movie assistant who specialized in props. She was a cast member for Burt Reynolds' final movie, the last movie starring Burt. He has a historic legacy. Just a great guy. Hannah became friends with him. You see the story from NBC in Washington, where she was memorialized. The movie was dedicated to her honor, or to her memory, but she also earned a credit. In one of the more iconic scenes of the movie, her original artwork was included in that scene. For a young girl who was 16 at the time, to already have original artwork in a movie of the stature of the last movie star with Burt Reynolds, Chevy Chase, Ariel Winter. That's astonishing. It's an incredible accomplishment. You can see a couple of the IMDb credit and also a nice note from Ariel regarding the loss of Hannah. Hannah has an enduring legacy. So I mentioned the highway safety issues, but there's so much more to Hannah than just a guardrail. Adam Rifkin was the director on the last movie star, and he wrote this tribute to Hannah. He said, Lao Tzu said, the flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long, while Hannah's flame burned 4 times as bright, which is why we were moths so drawn to her. Hannah has a legacy that has impacted orphans and foster children around the United States. Since her death, Transfiguring Adoption has awarded the Hannah Eimers Award, which recognizes the top foster parent in the United States. You can see this link from NBC in Washington. And one of the things that we've been able to do in her memory, we've been empowered to provide thousands of dollars in scholarships. We've provided books that have helped empower adopted and adoptive families. We've been able to send kids to camp. Hannah has a continuing legacy that has touched so many. I want to tell you probably my proudest legacy is a brother. When Hannah started college at 15, she started to invite several friends home. One of them was a young couple. They ended up getting pregnant. Hannah asked us to help them, and we did. We went out and tried to empower them to raise their child, and they reached the decision that they wanted to place the baby for adoption. So we helped them seek counseling and legal counsel that would protect their interest. And about a week before Hannah died, she came to us and said, you have to offer to adopt the baby. And that was a bridge too far. And the next day, the young girl came to us and said, because of the way Hannah treated me and various other reasons, I'd like you to adopt my baby. So Hannah knew about Nicholas, her brother. She never got to meet him this side of heaven. He was born after, but his name, Nicholas, is the bearer of gifts, the patron saint of orphans and young mothers. Samuel comes from the story of Hannah and Samuel in the Bible, a young mother who was praying for a son, and God hears her prayer. And that's what Samuel means. Hannah prayed fervently for this little boy and advocated for her brother that she will never meet the side of heaven. But he has been a bright light in the midst of many tears. He's a rainbow baby, and he has brought such joy to our family. Hannah was an extensive saver. Adoption is very expensive. And it was Hannah's savings were more than sufficient to pay the redemptive costs of her brother's adoption. That is an incredible legacy. So how has Hannah's death impacted our family? We had a pretty decent first chapter. We were kind of different. We had 3 biological children. We adopted 3 from Ukraine. We had a baby. We had 2 more children from Upper East Tennessee that we adopted, and we were getting ready to adopt an infant. We weren't exactly normal, but we weren't broken. Our middle chapter has been brutal. Nothing prepares you to lose your child. And then to learn it was by a product defect, fraudulent product defect. And then to go from a quiet existence in rural East Tennessee to a national and international stage, speaking with congressmen and senators about how your child was killed. We're ready to move to the next chapter. But we are broken, we are hurt. Hannah was valuable beyond measure. And regardless of the outcomes, we have been sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Hannah is dead, and she died with so much music still left in her. Hannah was destined for greatness, and that was stolen.